Good morning. We are in Port Clinton now. Yesterday we zeroed in Hamburg, which is like the next town over. It was only like a 5-minute drive with the shuttle from Cabela's, which was great. I was extremely lazy yesterday, which is exactly what I wanted for my zero day. It also poured rain, and it is so satisfying to successfully take a 0 day on a day when you wouldn't really want to be hiking anyway. So we planned that super well. But we're back in Port Clinton now. We got the shuttle this morning, saying goodbye as we speak to town and walking back into the woods. So happy to be back out here. We've got, I think it's a 15-mile day to Eckville shelter. And what we have been told is that after Eckville is when the Pennsylvania rocks truly begin. So stay tuned to see how that goes. The pinnacle is apparently a pile of rocks in the woods. Okay.
Can you get out of there without falling?
We just found a cave. Can you see Magpie? My friends all got distracted by the cave, and it was cool, but I didn't trust it to go in, so I kept kind of meandering around the pinnacle, and now I have a better sit spot all to myself with gushers. Good morning. I am walking up from Eckville shelter this morning. I'm just walking back up the trail right now, basically. We had to walk down that road to get to it. Not far, not even 0.1, but headed back to trail. Not my favorite shelter, but it did the trick, and everything looks wet this morning, so it was nice to be somewhere with a roof last night. Yeah, I started feeling this way kind of yesterday, and I'm feeling it again today. Head's just not really in it. Struggling with, you know, all the other places I could be right now. Not leaving trail, but just one of those days where I have to really mentally work for it. So that's what's happening. Also, potentially adding to that is that we are definitely getting rain today. Supposedly it's not going to start till 11. It's not even 7 o'clock right now, but we'll see what happens. I've looked ahead, and I can go to the shelter we were planning on, which is in 17.5. Oh, there's a deer in the road up there. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but there's a deer in the road. Sweet. I can either go to the shelter that is 17.5 miles out, back on trail by the way, or if I'm really not feeling it, if the rain is really bad, I have a bailout point about 12 miles into my day, where there is a hostel that I could potentially snag a bunk and dry out, and just do a slightly longer day tomorrow, which wouldn't be a problem. So it helps to have those, like, in case of emergency, but not really emergency, in case I really need it, sort of stops along the way. But I'm gonna see how many miles I can check off before the rain starts, and then we'll go from there and see what happens. All right, I'm back on trail, so I better get hiking. Okay, I just came up most of a 1,000-foot climb out of Eckville. It's always the way it goes, climbing up out of town. And I felt like I should clarify that, for one, I've had unreasonably good weather on the AT so far. When I started, I fully expected 30% or a third, so 33% of my time out here to be in the rain. And days that I had to walk through, I've only had a handful of rainy days. And that's pretty darn good. So it's totally understandable that I have to go through the rain today. The things that make me hesitate to do so is that the last time I was in a kind of a bad mood like I am today, and the rain hit, I shouldn't say the rain made it worse, but that factor really made for a bad day. And we have heard that after Eckville shelter, which is where I'm coming from, is where the Pennsylvania rocks really begin. And those rocks are temperamental to start with, and once they get wet, they could really become dangerous. So, just things to be careful of. But I also recognize that this is the AT. I'm gonna have rainy days, and that is what I am trying to slip my mentality into now. Pennsylvania's definition of a trail is a little rocky, to say the least. You've got one blaze there, and the next blaze, you just kind of have to look ahead, is down there. But I gotta get there. Here's the trail in Pennsylvania. Blaze to blaze to blaze to one further back. Does that count as a trail?
Not, it stands straight up.
Knife's edge. Thunderstorms rolling in. We're hitting it just at the last moment. Oh my gosh.
I need inspiration.
Before I could even do my good morning video, Pennsylvania gave us this. It's gonna have to wait. Good morning. Today we woke up at, what was it called? Baked Oven Gap Shelter. And it was a really small one. It was one of the smallest ones we've seen actually in a while. Today is a pretty simple 15-mile day. We're definitely in the worst part of Pennsylvania in terms of rocks. So we're taking it easy on ourselves. We don't want anybody to get injured. Today we have a little bit of a side quest. We're going to be going into Palmerton, which is a little town, because Magpie needs to pick up her new shoes, and the whole group is gonna, we call them side quest into town to just hang out. I was hoping for a coffee shop where I could get a cup of coffee, but it looks like my best shot at that might be a gas station, so we'll see. But that's probably the big news for today. It sounds like the climb, here comes sun. Woo. It sounds like the climb up out of Palmerton is going to be pretty rocky, so we'll see what happens. I think today is no rain, and then tomorrow is potentially rain again, so we'll see. Super not ideal to be getting so much rain when we're on all of these rocks. Yesterday was definitely a little sketchy, especially going over Knife's Edge. So we're just taking it slow, being gentle, yeah, and kind of walking with intention. But today seems like a really nice day. It's probably around 70 degrees right now, so pretty nice. And well, almost blue skies. We have some like thin clouds above us. But yeah, feeling pretty good. Yeah, I think I mentioned before, but been thinking a lot about the things that I have to look forward to at home, and I've been spending a lot of time reminding myself that the AT is a finite point in my life, and those things that I'm really missing right now will be there for the long haul when I come home, and I get to go home to those things. So I think this is going to be probably a common theme for the second Half of this trip is reminding myself that I'm out here for reasons and revisiting why I'm hiking the AT list as needed, and feeling grateful that I have a lot of love and support that I get to return to.
Wild blueberries.
Thank you.
Wild blueberries beneath mountain laurels and an almost view.
Yeah, I know. We used to come up.
I like Pennsylvania now.
Crossing the Lehigh River. AT blazes with an arrow, but no pedestrians. Some irony, no? Second bear on trail. Big boy. He actually popped out and looked at us while we were walking down the road, and then he disappeared, but he's headed up that road. Bouldering today. Rocks everywhere. Good morning. It's about 5:30. Today's an early rise day because I'm pushing kind of a bigger day today, and there's rain coming, so I'm trying to get ahead of it. Today, or well, I should say last night, we stayed at just a campsite right past the Blue Mountain Resort. We actually popped in there for a moment just to fill up our water, which was great. And then we came over and set up camp. It was a lovely night in my hammock. I love setting up my hammock. It's just, I get such a good night's sleep in that, and it's so cozy. So today, I'm going from that campsite to Kirkridge Shelter, which is 24 miles away. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get as many miles in as I can before the rain actually starts. I think it's supposed to start around 8 a.m. and then get progressively worse throughout the day and not stop until around 10 p.m. tonight. So I'm moving. We will see how it goes on the rocks. I think that there's one major scramble today up to Wolf Rocks, and we'll just kind of see how it's going when we get there. But I think today might end up being the perfect case scenario for using a bad weather bypass. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I have no qualms about doing that. So yeah, that's kind of how today's looking. I was actually first out of camp this morning, which means that I am getting all of the spider webs, which is called silk blazing. So that's fun. But I'm actually kind of impressed with myself that I was the first one out. Usually at least one of the boys beats me out, but I was first today. All right, I better get to hiking and see how today goes. Good morning. crossing the road. Bye. Rain is starting again. Good morning. Lots of birds today. I hope you can hear them. Today we woke up at Kirk Ridge Shelter. Yesterday's 24 miles tried to kill me. That was definitely the worst section of Pennsylvania I have seen so far, at least in terms of what I consider to be bad rocks. It was really tough. Everything was hurting by the end of the day. But that's behind me, and yesterday was my last full day hiking in Pennsylvania, I guess I should say. Today I am headed just a simple 6.5 miles down into Delaware Water Gap, and my feet are still a little sore from yesterday, but I don't have much to do today, so I can't really complain. We will be spending basically a Nero in town doing our chores. We should meet up with Queen Diva a little later. And I think we're gonna stay at the church that has a donation-based hostel. So I guess we're just kind of running on the assumption that they'll have space. But otherwise, the bottom of my feet are doing a fun thing where they look like they're turning into leather. Not sure if that's normal, but that's happening. And let's see, other updates. I don't know if I have any. Delaware Water Gap is basically the end of Pennsylvania. We'll be staying tonight in Delaware Water Gap. So tomorrow morning when we get up and head out of town, we will cross a bridge and immediately leave the state, which is pretty exciting. So far, Pennsylvania has been my least favorite state by far. Partly because of the rocks, and also I just wasn't a huge fan of the towns that we went through, although maybe Delaware Water Gap will change my mind. So we will see, but regardless, headed down into Delaware Water Gap today. I have heard there is a place that has good ramen and sake, and I think that my group might be going there for dinner. And then also in town is a jazz club that claims to be the oldest continuously running jazz club in America. And it has an annoyingly high cover fee, but I kind of think that that's worth it. I would love to sit and listen to some jazz. So we'll see what happens tonight, but it could be a pretty fun night. Pennsylvania hasn't given us much in the way of views. Granted, we got, you know, a lot of smoke from the fires in Canada, but this hit first thing today, which is pretty nice.
Plant life, even at its deepest point, where like this one. So essentially, like, because plants are growing everywhere, like this is like up the Adventurista. I love you. And this is what
Thank you.
the packaging looks like. What do you get a moment?
There's one
Good morning. Today we are leaving Pennsylvania, first thing, and I am not sad about that. We're in Delaware Water Gap at the moment, but first thing this morning we stayed at the church hostel last night that's donation based. Super cool. We also had ramen while we were in town. We went on a little adventure. I went to the jazz club last night. It was so good. Such a nice town stay. Honestly, it kind of was a little bit of a saving grace for Pennsylvania. But first thing this morning, we're crossing this big bridge where we will hit the state line. And then my friend Helen is meeting up with us, and she's gonna do some hiking with me this morning, which is so cool. So, yay, fun things happening today, and it looks like we've got a really exciting week coming up. And am I right? No, today's not the first day, it's the last day of this week. So, we're ending this week switching state lines. Let's do it.
But the aftertaste is really good.
It's a journey to get there.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Lots are definitely straight. They're not cool enough to be in.
No, that's so true. He's so cute.
I was literally about to be like,
Oh, I guess I probably should come over here.
Yeah, if you get that way.
okay.
Just don't look down.
Or do look down.
Waffle stop it through the stairs.
This is cool. You can do it, TC.
We have a beautiful little pond here
Blues and I had the Pennsylvania Blues.
with a beaver pond here, and there's also one right there. If you can see above my trekking pole, there's one in the middle of the lake. No beaver sightings yet.
This is all
Yeah.
probably just